Here's a story that's really funny, but also really confusing to a lot of people, and I'll explain to you why. It says Trump has told advisors he's thinking about running in 2024. So this report comes from Axios. This article from The Hill reads, President Trump has told close advisors that he is considering running for president in the 2024 election, according to a report from Axios. Trump has yet to concede defeat to Democrat Joe Biden in the 2020 election, but networks have projected the VP as the winner. So basically, it says if he decided to make another run for the White House in 2024, he would be the odds-on favorite in a GOP primary, given his level of support amongst Republican voters. And then it very obviously explains that you can run multiple times. Obviously, you can only be president for 2 terms, but you can actually serve for 10 years. So let's say the president dies, you're the VP, you fill in for 2 years, you can actually still run for re-election 2 more times. So the max you can be president isn't 8 years, it's actually 10. But if he loses, he could run for re-election again in 2024. Now, the reason why this is confusing to a lot of people is because, people are saying, well, wait a second. If Donald is floating running in 2024, well, that means that he actually already knows he's lost, which is definitely possible. He could be putting on this public facade that there's still a chance for him to win. I don't know why he would do that. I'm not really sure what the reason would be, just because it's like a sort of last man standing type of thing. I'm not really sure. But it is extremely possible, and I would say plausible, that he's actually putting on this public facade that, oh yeah, I won, or we really got this, when in reality he knows, deep down inside he knows that he lost, but he just has to put up this facade. That's possible. So that's why a lot of people are confused, because, hey, wait a second. If you're thinking about running for 2024, that means that you admit defeat, you've conceded, essentially. Now, can Trump really run in 2024? The thing is, bro, like, he's going to be super broke. He's already pretty broke. He has like $500 million in debt. His campaign right now is broke. He's trying to fundraise right now for these court cases. Court cases are really effing expensive. He's been sending emails to try to raise money for these court challenges. His campaign was actually broke in the last stages. He was trying to catch up to Biden. I think it was because it looked like sort of a dead end for Trump, and he was trailing Hillary Clinton. He got outspent by Hillary Clinton like 2-1, I think. So he's used to this now. Democrats are kind of the fundraising mega, people essentially. So, he was already struggling funds-wise. I don't think he's really going to be able to do it in 2024. Now, the nature of this election for Joe Biden, obviously, it could be a Jimmy Carter-esque election. And, Jimmy Carter barely sort of edged out Gerald Ford, and Ford was the VP for Nixon, who took over and pardoned him. You know what I mean? Like, think about how easy it is to defeat somebody like that. I look at this as a similar way. Think about how easy it is to defeat Trump on the heels of coronavirus pandemic and George Floyd and all of this stuff. Like, Biden might not even won if those two things didn't happen. So could that give room for 2024 for Trump? I don't really think so, to be honest with you. I feel like the Republican establishment really failed to coalesce around anybody that wasn't Trump in 2016. And they could have done that. But Ted Cruz was like the second in line in terms of numbers, and the Republican establishment hates Ted Cruz so much. He's sort of been more instilled in the Republican apparatus now and the establishment, but he wasn't in 2016. People hated him because he was a Tea Partier, and he was like shutting down the government over like already passed Obamacare funding. So people hated his guts. John McCain hated his guts. Also, you got to remember, there's a lot of criminal charges that Trump can be liable for, man. There's just so many. This is a garden variety of, crimes. There's a lot of campaign potential fraud. There's a lot of tax fraud that's already been proven with Trump. There's all kinds of crazy stuff that he can be charged for. There's even the Mueller stuff that he could potentially be charged for. I don't know if the Mueller stuff's really going to end up going through or not, though. So he's really up for a lot of these charges. I don't know. He might even be he could be dead broke. He could be dead. You know what I mean? He could be in prison. There's a lot of stuff that could prevent him from running in 2024. I think that he's just sort of a megalomaniac, essentially, an extreme narcissist. And I think that's why he's thinking of that. But I don't think he's going to be able to run in 2024. If he does run, I think he'll lose. And I would say that if he does win in 2024, he'll lose the election. Unless something really crazy. I mean, that would be insane. Imagine Trump running in 2024 and winning. that would be insane. That timeline is really crazy to think about. But I don't think it's going to happen, to be quite honest with you. I don't think they'd go with him again. Am I going to say it's completely impossible considering what he did in 2016? I'm not going to do that. But I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. There's a lot of factors that are potentially going to keep him away. And if he were to somehow pull it off, I mean, that would be insanity. It would be crazy.